of course, you're here during COVID, and so if you could just reflect on maybe one of the most challenging, and I say opportunities because I think challenges help us grow, and maybe one of the most memorable experiences that you've had since you've been here.
Well, there are lots of stories I can tell since I joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But what I want to focus maybe is on the recent years. You know, when I was assigned this position as a minister of the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C., many of my colleagues sent their congratulations. And more of them expressed their condolences.
I was thinking about that. Yes.
You were thinking about that. Great. Yeah. Yeah. Because you know, it had been always very difficult to deal with the United States because it is the most powerful country in the world, and it started to become more challenging in recent years.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For all of us. Yes.
Right. So after I came to the United States in March 2018, actually we in the embassy and also my colleagues in Beijing and maybe our leadership were all prepared for the worst case scenario. But still, we were shocked by the decision taken. I have to emphasize it is a unilateral decision taken by the U.S., the previous U.S. government to shut down our consul general in Houston.
Oh, yeah.
It is very unfortunate. And I would say it is the darkest moment of U.S. Policy toward China. It was extremely difficult for us because, as you imagine, that the very first consul general opened after the establishment of formal diplomatic relationship between China and the United States had to close.
Yes.
Yeah. What does that mean for the local people and especially for local Chinese Americans and the Chinese citizens residing there, making contribution to enhance the economic and the trade relationship between the two countries. I also have very fond memories of the relationship, especially when I was visiting states and cities, when I talk with ordinary American people. For example, in
Really beautiful.
Missouri, I
Yes.
participated
Okay.
a event where lots of researchers were celebrating the life of Edgar Snow. You must know he is a very famous journalist, Western journalist who visited the area that were governed by the Chinese Communist Party in the 1930s. So what they told me is, a Western journalist could change the view of the whole world if he told true stories about the Chinese Communist Party and China as a country. And for example, in Iowa, yeah, the farmers and the ranchers told me that they do not want politics to stand between China and the United States. They want to do business with China. And in Utah, I met a group of pupils participating in the Chinese English immersion language program. Yeah. And they told me that the reason why we want to study Mandarin, because we will be able to make friends with 1.4 billion people.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yes,
Yes,
one of the
that's
little girl
great.
told me exactly what I said
Yes.
just now.
Yes.
And you know what? Even in Houston, Texas, when the Chinese government chartered aircraft came to take back our colleagues used to work in the consul general and their
Right.
families, the CBP officials told them, please come back soon.
You know, I mean, just those human connections, you know, I think make such a difference, which, you know, brings me maybe back to the China Garden.
Yeah.
And really, you know, this goal and this dream we have of building this garden so people can really understand the beauty of China and the people and the culture. And so just any thoughts on that also potentially being a bridge that can hopefully, when you think about in DC,
Yeah.
people from all over the United States come to DC to hopefully have that as a potential bridge. Any thoughts or words of wisdom on what we can do to make sure that that is the goal and objective there?
If the National Garden can be built up, especially particularly in the capital of the United States, it could be a Chinese corner.
Yes.
For students, yeah,
Oh, that would be wonderful.
for students to practice Mandarin.
Yes.
Yeah, for tourists to enjoy, to appreciate the very unique Chinese tradition and beauty. And also maybe for example, researchers to do something to learn more about the ideas of China Garden development.
Yes,
And maybe for more broader Americans to understand how the Chinese people have developed in the long history the ideas of, you know, the relationship between the man and the nature, and the home and the society, home and the country, and also understand the ancient philosophies they developed for such a long time that are still impacting the Chinese government's philosophy of governance at home, and also foreign policy abroad, because we, from history, we emphasize harmony and unity so much. I think those ideas are still having huge impact on the current government and the current practices. I think I need to mention it. You must know that this building, the China Garden, is just a very small part of the whole Chinese Embassy Chancery. And this building is designed by I.M. Pei.
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I know that.
So yeah, he is the world-renowned Chinese-American architect.
Yes, I
and
know.
I think we are so proud that this is one of his masterpieces.
Yes.
And as you can see that this building is a seamlessly a work that seamlessly melts the East and the West.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which symbolizes unity and endured relations. This is how we look at this building. I can imagine it must be extremely, extremely difficult for Mr. Pei when he tried to blend the very Chinese, traditional Chinese ideas of architecture into Western modern concepts. But when well designed and delivered, it can be done perfectly.
It can, but it also, it lets you know he's such a genius, right? I mean,
He is,
the genius that he was able to bring those two together. So we need him to guide us probably through the next phase of this relationship.
Exactly.
It's amazing. You know, and every time I'm here, I see something new, and I'm always amazed. But it's really just an amazing place, and so rich with culture.
It is.
Yeah, I love
It
it. I love it. So thank you for having us.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Yes.